Do you want me to take them now?
Yes.
Kim here, homeschooling mom to almost 5 and chaos coordinator since 2009. I have a upcoming 8th grader, upcoming 3rd grader, a repeating kindergarten, I'll explain in a second, and a 2.5-year-old. This video is going into the curriculum I have for my kindergartner. Here I'm just going to talk about what we're doing, the whys of why we chose it, and the details of each subject I'll have in the playlist below. My kindergartner, I started her last year. Although intellectually and academically she's totally fine, maturity-wise and independence-wise, she was just not ready to start kindergarten. So about halfway through the year, I said, you know what, we're going to just do kindergarten next year again. And what it did is it allowed me to, one, get through my first trimester, and second, allowed me to try another curriculum that I've wanted to try but didn't need to in the past because I had something that worked really well. So we're going to start off with
Science.
It took us a couple years to find this curriculum, this program. I love it. It's Elemental Science. So this year it is Intro to Science. This is the teacher's guide. There's also a student's guide, and I've done it before, but I wanted to try the LAP book that they have this year for her. She's more hands-on and artsy, so I'm going to give her the opportunity to do that. Editor Kim here. If you don't know what a LAP book is, it took me a couple years of seeing it everywhere to finally do one with one of my daughters, and she loved it. So I have a video down below just kind of explaining what a LAP book is, and it's kind of hard to explain. I'm just going to let somebody else do it that did it better already. That's a digital download. I also ordered the box of materials, and you might think, oh, I have cotton balls, I have marbles, and I have most of this stuff. I tell you, it is such a game changer when somebody sends you it in a box. I tried it myself, just doing it myself a few years in a row. It was a miserable failure. To me, it is worth it. They give you exactly what you need. And they have a list here that tells you what weeks you need it. And it's very easy to find. My older 3 have learned to really love their box. It helps them with independence and getting their supplies ready for what they need for their experiment. There's a book list that goes with it. I had a really hard time finding the handbook for nature studies. This thing I ordered, I don't think it was correct. So we do it without that. Do use this. And it is a fantastic resource. So you have to buy this kit along with this book. Thriftbooks.com is where I go to get everything. They do an introduction to chemistry, physics, geology, meteorology, botany, and zoology. They have book suggestions for each section. There's an experiment for every week, and books for every week, and an art activity for every week. They have a food thing that you can do every week if you want to eat with it. It's fantastic. The kids love it, and she has been begging to start science, but I'm not ready yet. Next up,
Core knowledge.
this is one of the things that we already did last year. The Core Knowledge series, again, I have a video down below explaining exactly what it is, but this is essentially what your kindergarten needs to know. She's read through this a couple times already. She just likes to sit down and read through it because it's kind of fun. It has some fun poems in the front, nursery rhymes, lots of stories like Goldilocks and the 3 Bears and 3 Billy's Goats Gruff. And then it goes into history and geography. Just kind of a fun book to go through, and it's age appropriate. And she's at a really high reading level, so she kind of sits through and thumbs through it every once in a while. So I'll have this sitting around, but it's not part of our curriculum. And typically what I did before was just read through it with her, and that's what I'll do with our son when he gets up to kindergarten as well.
Math.
Do you like math?
Yeah.
So again, we already did half a year last year, so we'll be finishing up. We use Math-U-See. I love it. I've used it every single year of homeschooling. It's the one subject that I have not changed curriculum on. She started on primer, whatever you want to call it. She likes it. She stopped at adding hundreds. And I know she'll be able to pick it up easy too because she was doing really well. And then when we finish, we'll move on to Alpha. It's technically 1st grade, but I'm not too worried about it because I'm just going to go at her pace. What I love about this is it works on mastery, so we can really take our time. Then this year too, there's a song book. My girls really do well with songs and music, and so it teaches them how to skip count. It goes really well with the next thing that we use.
Other essentials.
Which do you like better, the clipboard or the CD player?
CD player.
These are miscellaneous items that we cannot do without. One is a clipboard. I give them new ones every year. Dollar Tree has them for pretty cheap, so does Walmart. And they like to doodle on them. Some of them draw big drawings, but that way it's easy to know whose is whose, and they take ownership of it and they know that's mine. Editor Kim here. 2nd day of editing, post-dinner chaos.
I get me, Daddy.
So I finally got Genevieve's curriculum ready to go. We're gonna start here in a couple of days. She's very, very excited. So this is actually my clipboard. I'm using one of the old ones that the girls decorated years ago. I think that's mold. But essentially I have the date that this goes through, the child's name, and what week they're on. My older girls, they have this on their clipboard. For Genevieve, she's having a hard time following the charts and things. She's not quite old enough yet. Finally created a shareable template document on Google Drive. For those of you that have asked, I've had lots of people both digitally and in person ask for this. So I made it. There's a link below. Feel free to snag it and share it and use it as you like. On her clipboard, which I need to get you a new one because you need to decorate it. My husband helped me walk through how to do it. So I'm doing tabs with the days of the week at the bottom. She's starting on Tuesday. There's her sheets that she has for that day on Tuesday and sticky notes. And the sticky notes have instructions. We'll see how this goes. This is a trial method to see how that'll work for like, I'm trying to create independence, teach her how to do her own stuff on her own. Some of it says with mom. Some of it has to be with mom, and some of it is independent. This is the math CD like I just talked about. And then it tells her at the bottom what to do. I think I'm gonna do a one video on its own on how we use the clipboards and the checklist system. Let me know if that's something that would interest anybody. We invested in some nice CD players, so each kid has their own. She'll know that that's hers. She can listen to it. If I tell her, listen to track 3, she can go grab her CD player and can do it on her own. I'm hoping this coming year, that's gonna be my goal, is to really work on following her checklist for that day and getting things done.
History.
I was really excited to try Sunlight's new kindergarten curriculum. I'd used a different one that they had previously, but this one came out since I purchased that one. I'm eager to work through it with her. Exploring American history. So some of these books may not be PC. It comes with telling you what to do for each week and what books to read, what pages to read. It has discussion questions for each week. So she'll be reading through the following. The New York Colony. It took a while for me to find it. It's a true book, The New York Colony. The Very First Americans. And these two, my older two, have really enjoyed. The Heroes and Happenings, Volume 1. This is Volume 2. Has one page full of facts. So I'm assuming we read through one every so often. Your Life as a Settler in Colonial America. How We Crossed the West. This one I'm interested to read and excited. It's George versus George. 3 Young Pilgrims. They have a My First Picture Dictionary. Maps and Globes. The Magic Treehouse. Civil War on Sunday. And Granny Hands Breakfast.
Literature.
So this is books. Do you like books?
Yes.
One thing I also love about Sunlight is that their literature follows and integrates what's going on with the history. As you can see in the video of her, there are quite a few books that she is going to be reading through, and she's already started cracking open some of them. We follow their 4-day program, and then I end up ordering the extra books for the 5-day program just to supplement and let them read when they're hungry for something new to read. So I have a link below to all the videos. I made it into a short. It's a 1-minute short, and it flies through all of the books in her literature. So my daughter, going into kindergarten, just turned 6 in May. She's at a 2nd grade reading level. My kids pick up reading very easily. They have their other struggles, but reading is not one of them. So the books in the link below are 2nd to 4th grade reading level, or they make really great read alouds. And that 1-minute short link, I'll put at the very end of this video, and I challenge you to watch it. I'm curious how many people have actually heard of more of these books than I have. Sunlight does have kindergarten reading level books available in their program. So if you're interested in that, I'll have a link below to what the actual kindergarten readers are. One thing I also love about Sunlight is every year they have a poetry book, which is fantastic because I don't do poetry very well. So it teaches them all the things you need to know about poetry. It gets the kids engaged. All my kids love their poetry books. If I can pass on to something to my kids that I don't have, like a love of poetry, I find it fantastic. So I find somebody else who has the love of it, and then I just mimic that and pretend that that's my opinion too. So the one this year for kindergarten is The Llama Who Had No Pajama.
Building thinking skills.
A few years ago, I did standardized testing just to let me know what gaps I might be missing. And it alerted me that critical thinking was one of the things I hadn't been teaching. So it was definitely worth the time and investment. I have a video down below explaining in more detail what we use and why we used it. What I ended up buying was from what's called the Critical Thinking Company. It's a fantastic website with its own curriculum that you could purchase if this is the way your kid's brain works. For every year, I just buy the building thinking skills according to their level. So this is ages 4 to 5. It's a little below her level. We're going to finish it up. And then I have the next one purchased. They're very colorful. It's logical thinking, noticing patterns and colors and things.
Handwriting.
That's another area that isn't too much of a problem for my kids. They tend to write for the fun of it. We've just been using Handwriting Without Tears. I'd like to say I've used all the other resources, but I haven't. I've just been buying the books, and we just have them work through it and practice on correct formation of letters. I don't know if I'd recommend it, but that's what we're using. It's worked so far. So if I come up with a kid who has handwriting struggles, I'll let you know what I use instead.
Spelling.
For spelling, we started, and so we're about halfway through. I use Spelling UC. It works really well for my kids. We'll be working our way into B next. She's very excited to be able to sound out words that have 4 letters.
Bible and church teaching.
For Bible and church teaching, we have the Old Testament on CD she can listen to. There's a activity book, not too impressed with it. It's a story of the Bible through Tan Books. She also has a one-year Bible that Sunlight recommended. So when I was putting together her curriculum for next week, I realized she was going to be working through 3 different versions of the Bible. And I love scripture as much as the next person. I just thought it was a little bit too much. So I'm going to leave the CDs available if she wants to listen to them. I'm going to use that, I think, next year. I'm going to use it next year as part of her curriculum. I have a couple other things we run through. So this is the story of Job, Theology of the Body. And this is really simple. It only has a couple words per page, but it starts some conversations and it gets some good solid foundation as to how our body is made and what it's for and such. Finally, I'm a former Spanish teacher. I was able to find some room in the budget to purchase our first talk box mom for Spanish for our family. And I told my husband, who in theory studied abroad and took Spanish in college, but he did not learn much at all. So we're going to work on that as a family. They're all very excited. I will give a review and an update when it comes in after we've had a while to practice with it. So she'll be participating in that as well. So that's it for her kindergarten curriculum. For art, she is always doing arts and crafts, and I'll be doing lots of arts and crafts with the toddler who's discovered scissors and glue. And then we do art appreciation with the older 2 kids, and she sometimes joins in on that. My focus is going to be her following her checklist and following through with instructions and being independent. We have a lot of the Usborne How to Draw books, and she'll work her way through those on her own. So that's not really a course I need to teach her because she just does that whenever she's bored at all times. Same thing with music. She listens to lots of music. We start piano lessons with Hoffman Academy starting in 1st grade. So that's all for my kindergarten book-based curriculum with very minimal screens. I think the only thing that has screens here is math with his lessons, but those are like under 3 minutes. If you have any questions or suggestions or think I'm missing anything, I am all ears. I always feel like I'm forgetting something. Remember, it's okay to make mistakes. The important part is to learn from them. God bless.